ready to dive into something kind of, well, timely. I mean, it's December after all.
Holiday spirit got, yeah.
Something like that. No, but seriously, we're looking at Christmas today. But through a specific lens.
Sounds intriguing.
It is, actually. We've got this sermon by Billy Graham, the evangelist.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And it's all about how Christmas felt different, even back when he was preaching. Not just how people celebrated, but like the whole mood.
Interesting. Different how, though? Like less eggnog, more fruitcake.
Not quite. He actually talks about this, like new tenseness he was seeing,
Yeah.
almost a shadow over everything.
Huh. That's not exactly the jolly Christmas vibe you usually picture.
Right, and that's what we're digging into, like what was going on back then that even Christmas felt different.
Yeah, what was in the air, so to speak.
Exactly. So to set the scene a bit, Graham mentions folks being worried about wars and rumors of wars in this sermon.
Uh-oh, that sounds kind of heavy for the holidays.
It does, right. He doesn't give us a specific year for the sermon, but just from that.
You're thinking Cold War, maybe?
Yeah.
Like that whole nuclear anxiety hanging over everything?
It's a good guess, right? I mean, if you're constantly worried about the world ending,
Deck the halls with boughs of fallout shelter, fa-la-la-la.
yeah, not exactly festive, but it makes you think, right? Like whatever's happening in the world, it kind of seeps into everything.
Totally, like a backdrop you can't ignore, even when it's supposed to be merry and bright.
And that's what I find so interesting about this whole shifting Christmas spirit thing.
You've noticed it too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like thinking back to when I was a kid, Christmas felt so magical. But as I got older and, the world got, well, more complicated.
Some of that magic fades, yeah.
Exactly. And that actually ties into another point Graham brings up. It's a bit of a debate even today.
Let me guess. Fruitcake versus sugar cookies.
Tempting, but no. It's about the whole commercialization of Christmas. Like, how much of it is about buying stuff versus the religious side of things?
Yeah, that's a classic Christmas conundrum.
And Graham was really bothered by it. Even as a kid, he says he felt this unease about how much focus there was on money and gifts.
Overshadowing the whole reason for the season.
Exactly. And what's wild is that he was saying this decades ago, right? This isn't some new complaint.
Shows you how long we've been grappling with this tension, right? The sacred versus the secular at Christmas time.
Totally. It's like, think about Santa Claus, right? He went from this humble religious figure
to the jolly, bearded marketing machine we know and love.
Exactly. He practically embodies how Christmas has evolved, from simple giving to, well, kind of rampant consumerism.
So where do you draw the line then? Enjoy the presents and fun, but not lose sight of the meaning.
That's the million-dollar question, right? And Graham, he was adamant that folks needed reminding about the reason for the season.
Getting back to basics.
Yeah, basically. He was worried that with all the parties and shopping, people would forget that Christmas is about Jesus' birth.
Makes sense. Easy to get swept up in the holiday whirlwind.
Totally. But what's really cool is that Graham doesn't just leave it at that. He goes deeper, makes this really thought-provoking point.
Oh,
He says, Jesus didn't come just to be born, he came to die. And he even talks about shadow of the cross hanging over the whole nativity scene.
Whoa, okay. That's not your typical Hallmark Christmas movie message.
Nope, not at all. But it's powerful, right? Like,
Yeah.
even in this joyful moment of Jesus being born, there's this reminder of his ultimate purpose.
To sacrifice himself for humanity. Heavy stuff to ponder while unwrapping presents.
It is, isn't it? But it also reframes the whole Christmas narrative. Makes you think about it on a deeper level.
Not just a birthday party, but the start of something much bigger.
Exactly. It's like, to truly understand Christmas, you can't just focus on the birth. You got to consider the whole story, including the death and resurrection.
The full picture, even the hard parts.
Right. And that's what makes this whole sermon so fascinating, right? We've got this changing feeling around Christmas, the commercialization debate, and then this deeper theological layer on top of it all.
So where does that leave us then? Like, what's the takeaway for folks listening, dealing with all this Christmas stuff themselves?
Well, I think it boils down to each person's own relationship with Christmas, right? Whether you're religious or into the tradition or just like the fun of it.
Graham is making us think about it more consciously. Like, what does Christmas really mean to us?
Absolutely. It's a call to be more intentional, more mindful about how we celebrate, whether that's toning down the shopping frenzy or reconnecting with the spiritual side.
Maybe both. Finding that balance, however it looks for you.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, by remembering that deeper meaning, that whole story of Jesus, we can find some of that Christmas magic again, even if the world feels a little less magical these days.
Worth a shot, right?
Definitely. Something to ponder as we hang those stockings and whatnot.
Food for thought with your figgy pudding.
Now that's a Christmas debate I can get behind.
Any day.
All right, folks. That's going to do it for a deep dive this time. But hey, keep those thoughts simmering.
Like a good cup of cocoa.
Exactly. And happy holidays, y'all, whatever that means for you.
And to all, a good night.
Good night.